Dear learners, welcome to SD Campus online learning platform. In today's lecture, I am going to talk about W.B.YEATS, Maud Gonne, their love relationship, and obviously one of the most significant poems of Yeats, reflecting this theme, No Second Troy. Before discussing the poem, let us have a look at the background of the poem. The poem was written in 1916, but Yeats in fact published the poem in 1921 in the collection Responsibilities and Other Poems. It is a poem about the love relationship between the poet and Maud Gonne, devastatingly beautiful Irish actress. It is one of the great literary love stories of the 20th century. Yeats was obsessed with her and pursued her for over a decade and dedicated many of his poems to her. The two first met in London in 1889 when Gonne was in London after the death of her father. Yeats was immediately infatuated with her and the two spent a lot of time together. Gonne left London after just 9 days, but it was enough time for Yeats to have fallen madly in love with her. Gonne was the inspiration for much of Yeats' poetry over the next few years. They stayed in contact, but Gonne, instead their relationship was only platonic. And unaware of her ongoing love life back in Paris, Yeats proposed marriage in 1891 but was rejected by Gonne. Yeats vowed to win her round and had proposed to her another 3 times by the early 1900s. Each time he was rejected, and his heart was broken in 1903 when she agreed to marry another man. Gonne wed Major John Macburde, but their marriage was short-lived. They had a son together and they actually lived together for only 2 years or so. Gonne continued her contact with Yeats throughout this period, and the two finally had a night of passion together in Paris in 1908. Though Gonne again insisted that there would be no relationship between them. Dear learners, now we have to talk about the poem, No Other Troy. Obviously the poet W.B.YEATS, he is rejecting the reputation of which that actually happened in Troy. In this poem, however, Yeats' attitude is somewhat harsh as he compares Maud Gonne with the infamously beautiful and notoriously mischievous Helen of Troy. From classical sources, it can be said that the Trojan War started after the elopement of Queen of Sparta, Helen. Obviously, she was accompanied by Paris, the Trojan prince. The jilted husband of Helen, Menelaus, pursued his brother Agamemnon to lead a voyage to find her. Other Greek heroes such as Ajax, Nestor, Odysseus, and Achilles joined Agamemnon along with a fleet of over 1,000 ships from all over the Hellenic world. This group crossed the Aegean Sea to Asia Minor to lay siege to Troy and demand Helen's return by the Trojan king Priam. And in this conflict, the beautiful city of Troy was destroyed. You have to take a note of that thing, my dear students. And in this conflict, the beautiful city of Troy was destroyed. So the title suggests plain, Yeats is not in favor of repetition of such a massacre. and says plain, no other Troy. With the comparison to Helen, Yeats is accusing Maud Gonne of being partially responsible for the violence in revolutionary Ireland, just like Helen was partially responsible for the Trojan War. The poem is not only about history, personal and social, but also about the process of image making. Personal history is Yeats' attraction towards Maud Gonne, and the social history is that of the Home Rule movement. Maud Gonne is constantly compared to the mythical character Helen of Troy, whose beauty led to the 9-year-long Trojan War. No second Troy makes Maud Gonne a symbol of nobility, of a past heroic age, and so sets up an image to which the present might aspire. By the time of this poem, Gonne had sought to further an Irish Republican Brotherhood plot to blow up British troop ships during the Boer War in 1899, and had in Macbeth's aborted plan to assassinate King Edward VII, 1901 to 1910, during their honeymoon in Gibraltar. Whereas Helen seems to have played at most a passive role in the destruction of Troy. Gonne's affinity for violence was not only active but a part of her appeal. The theme refers to both the stories and interconnects their history, linking historical content to a modern 20th century context.
No Second Troy by William Butler Yeats. Why should I blame her that she filled my days with misery, or that she would of late have taught to ignorant men most violent ways, or hurled the little streets upon the great, had they but courage equal to desire? What could have made her peaceful with a mind that a nobleness made simple as a fire, with beauty like a Titan bow, a kind that is not natural in an age like this, being high and solitary and most stern? Why, what could she have done, being what she is? Was there another Troy for her to burn?
In Greek mythology, Helen of Troy is known as the woman whose beauty sparked the Trojan War. But Helen's character is more complex than it seems. When considering the many Greek and Roman myths that surround Helen, from her childhood to her life after the Trojan War, a layered and fascinating woman emerges. Helen is among the mythical characters fathered by Zeus. In the form of a swan, Zeus either seduced or assaulted Helen's mother Leda. On the same night, Leda slept with her husband Tyndareus, and as a result gave birth to 4 children, who hatched from 2 eggs. From one egg came the semi-divine children, Helen and Polydeuces, who is called Pollux in Latin, and from the other egg came the mortals Clytemnestra and Castor. The boys, collectively called the Dioscuri, became the divine protectors of sailors at sea, while Helen and Clytemnestra would go on to play important roles in the saga of the Trojan War. In another older myth, Helen's parents were Zeus and Nemesis, the goddess of vengeance. In this version, too, Helen hatched from an egg. Helen was destined to be the most beautiful woman in the world. Her reputation was so great that even as a young child, the hero Theseus desired her for his bride. He kidnapped her and hid her in his city of Athens, but when he was away, Helen's brothers, the Dioscuri, rescued her and brought her home. As an adult, Helen was courted by many suitors, out of whom she chose Menelaus, the king of Sparta. But though Menelaus was valiant and wealthy, Helen's love for him would prove tenuous. Around this time there was a great event among the Olympians. The marriage of the goddess Thetis to the mortal Peleus. All the gods were invited to attend except for Eris, whose name means discord. Furious at her exclusion, Eris comes to the party anyway and tosses an apple to the goddesses Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite, on which is written "for the most beautiful." Each goddess claims the apple is meant for her, and the ensuing dispute threatens the peace of Olympus. Zeus appoints the Trojan prince Paris to judge who is most beautiful of the three. To sway his vote, each goddess offers Paris a bribe. From Hera, Paris would have royal power, while Athena offers victory in battle. Aphrodite promises him Helen, the most beautiful woman in the world, as his wife, and Paris names her winner of the competition. To claim the prize promised by Aphrodite, Paris travels to the court of Menelaus, where he is honored as guest. Defying the ancient laws of hospitality, Paris seduces Helen and flees with her in his ship. Roman poet Ovid writes a letter from Helen to Paris, capturing her mix of hesitance and eagerness. "I wish you had come in your swift ship back then, when my virginity was sought by 1,000 suitors. If I had seen you, you would have been first of the 1,000, my husband will give me pardon for this judgment." Ovid, Heroids 17.1036, Paris sails home to Troy with his new bride, an act which was considered abduction regardless of Helen's complicity. When Menelaus discovers that Helen is gone, he and his brother Agamemnon lead troops overseas to wage war on Troy. There is, however, another version.
Now, dear learners, look at the text of the poem. I'll analyze it in both English and Bengali languages. For your kind information, in my Bengali translations, I rather prefer transcreation, so listen me carefully. Why should I blame her that she filled my days with misery, or that she would of late have taught to ignorant men most violent ways, or hurled the little streets upon the great, had they but courage equal to desire? So the very first line of the poem, dear learners, it is actually a rhetorical question. Where lies the answer of this question? Why should I blame her that she filled my days with misery? That means I cannot blame her that she filled my days with misery. So it says about Gonne, why should I blame her for filling the days of my life with misery? I can blame her neither for this nor for the fact that she recently showed that she was capable of inciting ignorant men to resort to the utmost violence and imposing little men against the great power colonizers. If only they had as much of courage in their souls as they had of desire in themselves. তো এই অংশটিকে বাংলায় অনুবাদ করলে আমরা পাই, why should I blame her that she filled my days with misery? আমি তাকে এ দোষারোপ করি না যে সে আমার জীবনটিকে দুঃখে পূর্ণ করেছে, or that she would of late have taught to ignorant men most violent ways, যে সে এতক্ষণে অজ্ঞ আইরিশ সাধারণকে হিংসার পথ দেখিয়েছে, or hurled the little streets upon the great, কিংবা এই তথাকথিত ক্ষুদ্র জনগণকে বিরুদ্ধচারণ করতে শিখিয়েছে শক্তিধরেদের। Had they but courage equal to desire, সত্যি কি এই সাধারণের বাসনা তাদের সাহসের সমতুল? In this second part of the poem, the poet says, what could have made her peaceful with a mind, that nobleness made simple as a fire, with beauty like a tightened bow, a kind that is not natural in an age like this, being high and solitary and most stern. So in that part of the poem, the poet says that blaming her for all this is useless because things just could not have been otherwise. when she possesses beauty of a kind which, being high, solitary, and very stern, is something rare in this age. When her beauty is like a tightened bow, and her mind, which due to its nobleness has the simplicity and zeal of time, nothing could have made her remain peaceful. If we take lines one by one and try to transcribe those lines in Bengali, what could have made her peaceful with a mind? Kiba tar মস্তিষ্ককে শান্ত করতে পারত? That nobleness made simple as fire, তার চারিত্রিক মহত্ব তাকে আগুনের স্ফুলিঙ্গে পরিণত করেছে। With beauty like a tightened bow, মারণ সৌন্দর্য যেন বাণ নিক্ষেপে মগ্ন সুঠাম ধনুক। A kind that is not natural in an age like this, আর এই সময়ের নিরিখে সে অনন্যা। Being high and solitary and most stern, নিশ্চল লক্ষ্যে একাকিনী উচ্চতায় স্থির তার মনন। In the concluding two lines of the poem, the poet says, why, what could she have done, being what she is? Was there another Troy for her to burn? So here the poet is suggesting that with all these gifts, she was capable of burning another Troy, had there been one for her to burn. In other words, her beauty and stature are no less than those of Helen, who was responsible for the burning of Troy. Only there is no second Troy for her to burn. Being what she is, she just could not have behaved in any other way. Now, if we try to translate these two concluding lines in Bengali, it seems like that. Why, what could she have done, being what she is? সে তারই মতো, এছাড়া আর কি বা সে করতে পারত? Was there another Troy for her to burn? আর এক ট্রয় নগরী কি ছিল যা সে পুড়িয়ে ছারখার করতে পারত?
Dear learners, hope you all find this present lecture helpful. Please subscribe our channel and ring the notification bell for our coming videos. Thank you. Have a good day.